Beasly was part of a Giants defensive team, 1981, that went to the playoffs, and it was the first Giant playoff team in 18 years. Went from 64 to 81 before we went to the playoffs, and Beasly was part of that team. He's one of the early guys that appeared on my radio show back at That Away Cafe in Casey's back in the day, and we've stayed friends ever since, and I'm so proud to be his friend, and also proud to present him to you tonight as one of our national honorees. Please welcome Beasly Reece.
I don't think I've ever written a speech in my life, and because something always hits me if I just listen. If I just listen to everybody. And I look at your photo here on the front page of your program, and it reminds me of an old man named Jim. Jim was a hobo, and I know that that doesn't sound right today. It's not politically correct to call a man a hobo. But he literally rode to my father's farm in Texas. And my dad would walk through the kitchen and say, "Old Jim is back." And then at the end of the growing season, he'd walk through and he'd say, "Oh, you know, I haven't seen old Jim in a while. I guess old Jim is gone." Now, to make a long story short, and why these 10-looking-year-old kids kind of gave me this message tonight. One day, we had a barn. There's a big barn on my farm, and old Jim would come and work for my dad. And Jim was an old man, and he was a little bit bent over. And he was walking slowly past the barn, and I was throwing a football in the air and catching it. I don't know if I was 10, 12 years old. And I saw Jim, and as an example of my stupidity, I said to myself, "Let me make this old man jump." So I aimed at a spot about 3 or 4 feet above his head, and I just let it fly. Summertime in Texas, my hand was a little bit wet, and it came out a little bit low. All I had time to do was to yell, "Jim!" That old man turned around and went, looked at me, threw the ball on the ground and said, "A damn old boy and stupid boy," and started limping on around the corner. Now, I'm from a farm in Waco, Texas. Football has a unnatural appeal in my state. It is abnormal the way people act about football in Texas. So I chased that old man for days. "Jim, you have got to show me how to catch like that." "Oh boy, get out of my face, you are." This went on for days. Now, my daddy would send me, I'm a bourbon drinker today. And unfortunately, I smoke cigars. Because my daddy used to send me down the field where Jim had built a shack, and I'd take him a little old bottle of bourbon and a couple of cigars for my daddy, and I would just beg him. I don't know if my dad said anything to him or not, but finally, Jim said, all right, boy, you be here after school every day. You miss a day, and we're through. And I'll show you how to make that catch. So every day after school, I got off the bus, I changed clothes, I ran down to the barn, and we catch 100 balls every day. Down low, over here, over the shoulder, turn your back, over the other shoulder. We did it every day. I don't remember when it stopped, but you know, eventually my dad would walk through the kitchen and say, oh, you know, I guess old Jim's gone. So one day, he didn't come back. And I broke in his house. Jim was a pro. I read things and I saw things. He was an NFL player. I've never told anybody his name because he was ashamed of where his life had fallen. I've never revealed Jim's name or the team that he played for, but it changed my life. I've been a pianist since I was 6 years old, and I started practicing every day. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I'm serious. I started practicing the piano every day, like old Jim. I have one talent. I have one ability. I tell my sons this. I have the singular ability to do it every day. That's all I've got. I don't have nothing else. But let me tell you something. If I want to learn the piano, if I want to learn a particular song, and I've performed everywhere. I've played at Kimmel Center in Philly, played with Peter Nero. I have that singular ability. I will do it every day. Now, family, the job, illness, travel, but then I get right back on it every day. And that was that old man. That was that old man. And let me tell you how I got to Connecticut. My last team was Tampa Bay. I retired, and I was just doing my job, and a man called me, the general manager of WVIT here in Connecticut, where I was a sports director for 10 years. He called me and said, Beasly, I was on vacation and I saw your work, and I was maybe retired from this area maybe 2 or 3 years, so there was a lot of Giant fans in this area at the time. I hope there still are. And he said, it might be a nice fit for you to come up here, but I have a serious question for you. He said, Beasly, do you play golf? And I said, yes, I do. I didn't think I was lying. I had a set of clubs. I played once, 2 or 3 times a year. I didn't know the qualifications involved in actually making a statement like, yes, I can play golf. So they put me on a plane. He explained everything to me. He said, we got UConn, men's, women's basketball. We got the Hartford Whalers, and we got the Greater Hartford. Anybody here old enough to remember when I came here, it was the Sammy Davis Jr. Greater Hartford Open. This was a huge deal. Stars came in. We had a big thing at the Civic Center, big performances by all these Hollywood people. It was huge. So They gave me the job, flew me in here on a Tuesday, and that was the celebrity long drive day. Yeah, y'all see where this is going, don't you? Now, I was retired maybe 2 years from the Giants, 2-3 years. So they saved me for last. The mayor went first. Congressmen and representatives in the room, the Congress people and the representatives went before me. The Hartford Whalers went before me. There were 1,000 people around the first tee in Cromwell. I don't know if any of you remember Chuck Keaton. He was the voice of the Whalers. And Chuck said, "And now, woo! The new sports director at WVIT in West Hartford, Connecticut, former captain of the New York Giants defense. Ladies and gentlemen, walking to the tee is Beasly Reece." The place went mad. Screaming, cheering, clapping. I walked up there like, let me tell you something. You'd have thought I was Phil Mickelson. I sauntered up to the tee. I put a tee in the ground. That man had me so pumped up that I went, don't be shocked by my flexibility at my age. Some of you older guys, don't be surprised at the level of flexibility. Imagine me at 32 or 33. I went, boom! I believe I hit one coat of paint. The ball rolled 3 yards and behind me. 3 yards and behind me. The place went silent. There was dead silence. I was mortified. Chuck Keaton, with his quick wit, finally broke the silence by saying, "2nd and 7. They all busted out laughing. I busted out laughing. Oh, the 2nd and 7. Oh, that's funny. Now listen to me. In my champion's heart, I said, this will never happen again. I cannot tell you how bad that hurt me. For them to be laughing. I faked like I was laughing with them. I went back to old Jim. First day that I had off, I was at a driving range. I bet for the next 25 or 30 years, I hit 1,000 balls a day. Every day. Like old Jim told me is the secret, that is hard work. That's every day. That's a total commitment to your dreams. Every day, I hit balls. My lowest scores are in the 60s, boys and girls. I won the long drive contest maybe 3 or 4. Yeah. No, it's not that joke. It's not that old joke. And then I went to the 10th tee. No, my low scores are in the 60s, and I turned myself into a player. And the reason that I tell you that is, you know, kids need to know that you have to spend time with that ball. Whatever the ball is, I don't care what the ball is, I don't care if it's lacrosse, tennis, basketball, you have to spend time with the ball. And the secret, if there is a secret, is a everyday commitment to making your dreams come true. And I don't care what business you're in, I don't care what instrument you're trying to learn how to play, I don't care what sport you're teaching your kids. You know, like, who was it said, you got to give your kids time. You know, you get out there in the backyard with them and throw it to them, and they'll find the love that you found when you were a kid in all of these games. I am so jealous of you for having a town like the town that you have. I just retired. I've worked 45 years in order to retire. And I just went back home to my town. And we got some stuff going on, but I'm where I was on the phone with the First Tee program yesterday. I'm bringing a program to my little town, and we're going to get some kids going like you got your kids going. God bless all of you, and please keep up all of this wonderful work.